Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome
Yes,
to episode
sir.
3 of Block to Block Podcast, the number one podcast in the world for all things Web3. Here we break down the technology, what's going on in the market, and how can you benefit from it all. I am the Magnetic Mamadou.
And I am the dynamic Derek here for episode Trey. Let's do it.
The talk is different.
The talk is different. That's the only way for the talk to be. If your talk is not different, we don't want to hear it.
That's a fact, man.
Yes, sir.
But how are things in your world, though, before we kick things off at the
Oh man, we ain't gotta talk about my world, man. They over here, they got me they pulling wisdom teeth and all type of things, man. So I don't even want to talk about my world, man. What's going on? What's new in your world though? What's new in the magnetic Mamadou world?
Shoot, everything's pulling to me, bro. Everything is pulling my way. Tomorrow I'm finna go to New York with my bae.
Okay. Like little do they know. Little is he telling y'all they go to New York like every other week. You know what I'm saying? Big spender, big money dude. You know what I'm saying? You know how my boy is. You know how my boy is. Yeah, come on now.
Shoot, I'm big frugal dude. But no, we're about to go to, next, like, starting this weekend is like the start of New York Fashion Week.
Okay.
So Ify's my lady for y'all who don't know. We're gonna go.
Shout out Ify. Shout out Bae.
Shout out Bae.
Yeah.
We're actually birthday buddies. He was born a day before her. Fun fact.
So if y'all ever wondering, yes, I am the older birthday buddy. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
By like a day.
That's all that matter. I am her elder. That's all that matter.
She finna fight you, bro.
I shall be treated as such. Okay.
Yes, but yeah, New York Fashion Week is finna be a vibe, man. Like, we're going. Actually, the EYO folk or Earn Your Leisure, they're gonna have like a show that we're gonna go to that we already for. So it's gonna be a vibe, man. I'm looking forward to it. Never thought I would be going to New York Fashion Week, so
yeah.
In the morning, she gonna get her hair did in the morning, so we lit.
Oh dang, yeah, I forgot y'all getting out there in New York tomorrow, man. Hey, look, it's okay, man. If you got a drip on purpose, I don't think nobody will blame you. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead, don't hurt them too much, and do what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
Most definitely. Any weekend plans for you?
Man, I got to go back to the doctor and get the rest of my half a wisdom tooth that's in my mouth out. So I'm gonna be on the couch, man. Definitely gonna be watching the Saints Falcons game. Who that? You know we rocking over here on this side. Who that nation? Shout out to New Orleans. Yeah, man. Other than that, I'm chilling. I'm inside, man. I'm inside. It was a real outside summer, so I am inside. I'm getting ready for fall.
Yes, I'm outside still, so
you see, I got on the sweater and everything, man. I'm trying to force it.
Well, bet, man. Let's get started, man. Let's get started. They're probably tired of hearing about our exciting lives.
For sure.
Oh, man. But yeah, we actually got a bit of breaking news today.
Oh, what we got?
Yeah. So the White House. The White House, man, they actually released a report talking about the impact of crypto mining on climate change. And really what they concluded is that all crypto assets, so thinking like the blockchain networks, your cryptocurrencies, your NFTs, the whole kit and caboodle, all of that is having a negative impact on the climate. And really what they're looking to do is see if they can like make policies and really work with state and different crypto asset stakeholders, if you will, to really like come up with policies to really combat like climate change.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the government is starting to get involved when it comes to the mining, right? When it comes to like Bitcoin and for now, shoot, even Ethereum for like the next couple of weeks, anybody that's using that proof of work, sound like that's going downhill.
Yeah, facts. So what happened was, so back in March, U.S. President Joe Biden issued an order for like the state to really investigate exactly what is this Web3 world and how is it impacting their climate change initiatives, right? What they found, it's funny you mentioned Bitcoin and Ethereum because they were like the biggest two offenders, right? So before I get into all that, let me just define crypto mining. So crypto mining is just a process where nodes, right? Remember last week, as we said, a node is just a computer that does processing on the blockchain network.
Yeah.
So crypto mining is just a process when these nodes are solving these complicated mathematical equations so they can win the right to validate a block or validate a transaction on the blockchain. And in return, if you're a miner, like whoever wins that right to do the mining, they will receive cryptocurrency in return. So people who may have first heard about Bitcoin and heard about like Bitcoin miners, these are individuals who have their nodes or their computers that are doing these huge equations and they're winning Bitcoin in return. But the thing is, that has really called proof of work, and it has a huge impact on electricity.
So how come is that how is that impacting electricity? Like, what is it with that proof of work? How is it that it's using all of that energy? I think that's what the people want to know. That's the question that I would have. You know what I'm saying? Question I have.
Yeah. So one, like just those mathematical equations, not to get super techie or nerdy with it, but what you're doing is you're solving like these hash algorithms. And hashing is similar to encryption, but it's like a layer more secure where you will encode some data and you can't like reverse that that encryption, right? So you have to like find matches on that hash, and it just gets, every time you validate a block on the blockchain, like it gets more complicated and more complicated. It takes more time, more resources, more energy. And Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two blockchains that got named the most in this US report. So just to like give some stats about like the energy usage, as of August of last month, the global electricity usage for all crypto assets, once again, like blockchain networks, cryptocurrency, NFTs, everything, the global usage is between 120 and 240 billion kilowatt hours per year. That is more energy usage, bro. That is more energy usage than some countries. That is more energy.
Wow.
That is more energy that is used up by Argentina and Australia.
Bro, whole countries. You telling me that this technology is using more power than the whole countries?
Facts. Like Ireland, Australia, Argentina, these like proof of work.
Man, I was about to say, and it's doing alphabetical order. We're gonna start with Australia. We're gonna do Argentina. We're gonna start in the A's first. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And as you can imagine, that is problematic, right? Because it puts a huge strain on like electrical power grids. It's having like a negative carbon output, all of that. And now, just to like give some more data, right? So as we know, both Bitcoin and Ethereum are the biggest within this space, right? They have like the biggest market cap when it comes to like cryptocurrency. Like both of them combined have more than 60% of the total market, right?
Yep.
Of all of this global energy input, like this billions of kilowatts, Bitcoin is using up anywhere between 60% to 77% just off Bitcoin alone. Because remember, Bitcoin's the biggest
of the entire market.
Yeah, Bitcoin's the biggest crypto in the entire market. It's like it's the innovator, the originator.
Right. So my question is, what is, what's the government saying? Did they say anything in the report like, this is what we're thinking, in terms of direction? Did they have anything in that article or in that report, if you will, about the direction. Just what's the feel, the sentiment from the government?
The sentiment, man, is they're just trying to find out more, right? Because as we know, here in the U.S., let's be real, the government's not the best when it comes to making laws and having policies to regulate the technology space.
Yeah.
And for good reason too, right? Technology as a whole, as we know, is very fast paced. It's very innovative. Things change every single day.
Yeah.
Whereas the lawmaking process is a very long, drawn out, slow process, right?
Yeah.
Like, just for like a bit of background for the folk, like I got my master of international development at like a public policy school in the University of Pittsburgh, and one of the classes was like policy evaluation. They detail like, hey, it takes a lot of time, a lot of research. Remember, this research, like this report, just got launched this month, right? Like President Biden ordered this research to undergo back in March. So we're talking about like a 6-month span, 5 to 6 month span, right?
Right. And
So,
that was pretty much just to research what's going on right now. That's not even researching what they should do next.
Exactly. The next steps really for the government is to really try to work with states, work with lawmakers, work with the key stakeholders in the crypto assets to really understand what's going on and how they can like really work for this. Now, over the months, there have been like speculation of maybe the government will just outright outban proof of work protocols or like the mining protocol, right? I'll just say this. If that happens, that would have a huge impact on the space.
Man, big time. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man. That Bitcoin price might, because at that point, you can there is a mining that could happen in other countries, but man, that's huge.
And that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up about the other countries. Because going back to Ethereum, right? And before I say this, guys, I do love Ethereum. I think Ethereum is very dope. However, it's not decentralized. So going back to Ethereum, do you know that?
Here we go.
So Ethereum right now is on a proof of work protocol, right? And that's all the mining. They're trying to move over to the merge to a proof of stake protocol, supposedly on September 15th. If that goes well, they don't have to worry about this. However, in the past, they have not done the merge, right? So if that continues this time, if the US government comes up with policies saying all mining activities are banned, you can't have any nodes doing that, do you realize that the US has 44% or 44.29% to be specific of all Ethereum nodes in the country?
Hey man, it sounds like the Web3 world is about to get spicy. The crypto world is about to get spicy.
And peep this, right? Remember last week we talked about how Hessner, right?
Yeah, we talked about Hessner. Yep.
Hessner has 16% of the nodes, and they may kick off Ethereum.
Right. But with Hessner, and this is where I'm interested, right? And this is, what I'll be tracking over, the next few months, next few years is, they've told us the reason they're going to proof of stake is because it's more environmentally friendly, is more energy efficient, right? But why is Hessner saying it doesn't want proof of stake on their hosting? Right? There has to be something to it. So it's like, is this a domino effect of not only is this proof of work going to be banned, but maybe the proof of stake is not as efficient as we think?
Well, to answer your question though, right? So I have the numbers right here. Give me a second, my brother. In terms of the impact of proof of stake. Of that huge figure of anywhere from 120 to 240 billion kilowatts, all the proof of stake processing, right, makes up less than 0.001% of the global energy usage of crypto assets.
Okay.
So basically, it barely even makes. It's not even a percent of all that activity. That's essentially all mining, bro.
Yeah, right.
Going back
Right.
to episode 1, when you talked about how when Ethereum moves to a proof of stake protocol, their energy efficiency is going to go up by like 99 point something percent. It's true because it is a lot more energy efficient and it has less of a strain on the environment. But overall, man, this
Yeah.
is an interesting time. Like I said, Ethereum's not decentralized. I'm sorry, y'all. It is what it is. And they definitely need to go to this proof of stake. The merge has to happen because if laws come out saying that mining is illegal or is banned in the US, Ethereum once again is in a vulnerable position. Now,
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
enough, going back to how last episode we said how Morgan Stanley said that Bitcoin is way more decentralized, the US only has 14% of Bitcoin nodes.
Mm.
So
Big distinction.
So if they was to make that same policy in Bitcoin, it's proof of work protocol, it won't be as big of an impact. So
yeah, I'll say this too. As I'm thinking about this, right, I think another big distinction is that Ethereum also has, a guy who is, the head of that blockchain, right? They have a representative for Ethereum. Like he can
right,
he can go and vouch and go and you know there's the Ethereum Foundation. They can hire lobbyists to help work with those.
They got the call.
Oh yeah,
They definitely got that call. So
off
here we go.
rip, off rip.
But we ain't got that with Bitcoin.
We don't have that with Bitcoin.
We don't even know if homeboy, what's his name, Satoshi, if he's like a person or if he's like an entity. There's all these conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
We don't know who to contact.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I've heard little rumblings here and there, but we really don't know. We don't know what's up, what's down with Bitcoin, but with Ethereum, it's completely different. And I feel like that's by design. It was designed to be, this blockchain to transform how we transact and interact with each other, right? It being that it was made for dApps, for decentralized applications. So, I mean, for me, it's looking a bit grim for Bitcoin, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
The only thing I want to say on this topic, though, is okay. There's this report. We're hearing electricity usage, environment, blah blah blah. Why do we care? A couple of reasons, right? So one, climate change is real, and it has a huge impact on the lives of people and the economy as a whole, right? Yeah. So we see things such as extreme temperatures, droughts that cause like damages to crops, which causes food shortages. We're seeing things such as infrastructure damages, etc. Right? Yep. Just to give you here in the U.S. alone, just in the U.S. last year, the cost of climate disasters cost us $145 billion. Let that sink in.
Climate disasters cost $145 billion.
Just in the U.S. alone, right?
In the U.S. alone. Okay.
And it's estimated that if we don't really check this, our GDP is going to drop by 3%, and annual federal revenue will drop by 7% by the end of the century. And it's even deeper than that, than just the U.S.
It's deeper than that?
It's deeper than that, bro. Because what happens with climate change is it's unfortunate, but it has a disproportionate impact on underserved communities. Certain who aren't even destroying the climate with high CO2 outputs or high emission outputs, right, are being the most negatively impacted. So we're talking about like developing countries such as places in Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia, the countries that aren't even responsible for the majority of this output because it's the U.S. and China. Yeah. But those countries are facing the brunt of the impact. And here in the U.S., like underserved communities tend to be communities of color, right?
This is true.
As we love what's going on in Web3 and like blockchain and how there's this rhetoric around like, hey, we can get economic empowerment, economic freedom, which I do believe is true. We have to be cognizant of which blockchains we are using, what's the impact on the environment. And really, that's one of the things you should look at when it comes to choosing the project and the chain you want to work with.
Yeah.
That's my segment on the climate, though.
I love it. I love it. I think that was man, great conversation just around what's going on in the market, what's going on with the government. I think that can be missed at times, man. I think right now is a lot of people just talking about the market, talking about NFTs, talking about if anything, just spooking people just around like, oh, it's a scam, this and third. I mean, the government is literally researching this and investigating this, so obviously it's there's something to it. Great segment, great takeaways. I love it.
Absolutely.
So for sure, man. So I think next what we want to get into is just on my end, what I want to bring to the podcast is continuing the conversation. We've had some great episodes the past couple weeks about licensing and copyright, and just really trying to understand where is the NFT market right now when it comes to copyright and licensing, right? And the past couple weeks we talked about it. It is on the struggle bus. Struggle bus, right? I mean, people are saying you can get certain copyrights, and then they're reneging on those promises. We're seeing deals being dropped. We're seeing all types of things. Well, of course, as az16z does, they're trying to be the leaders in this copyright discussion, copyright situation. And they're coming out with something they're calling the Can't Be Evil licenses.
Man, before we get into that, who's az16 and why are they important?
az16z is Andreessen Horowitz VC firm. They're important because, man, they are the big money movers when it comes to entrepreneurship, business, venture capital. They're basically going to pave the way. The gold road, right? The El Dorado. They're basically the ones that have the gold that's going to pave that road, so to speak, to this Web3 world, or one of the firms. I don't want to say they're the main ones, but they're going to contribute to it. Yeah. So and they've been known to make great deals. The founders are great businessmen themselves. So what they say and what they do, that holds weight, right? People are gonna pay attention. Obviously, they're not gonna put out any foo-foo. They're not gonna put out anything that's not sound. And so they see the holes that exist when it comes to NFTs. So they release the Can't Be Evil licenses, which is basically based off of Creative Commons copyright framework. Right. So it's a simple but legally sound framework for setting the rights of NFT holders. And of course, I think, in good spirit to the Web3 world, they've left it open to modifications by individual projects, right? It's not saying like this is what has to be. It's giving something for people to work off of. So they've created 6 categories, right? I'm going to go through it, just to give you all this information, just so you can kind of think about where we're at when it comes to the licensing, right? And licenses and how that may be able to be used for your NFT project, or if you're scouting an NFT project, understanding what they're saying when they're giving you these options, right? Because of course, the fine print is not always as easy to read as it should be, or as apparent. So we'll start with the most expansive, which is similar to CC0, which we talked about last week. So if you didn't catch last week's episode, go check it out. It was a good one. But it's the most expansive, right? I'm coining it CBE0, right? So basically, anybody is able to use that NFT's likeness to create, different variations. They can use it commercially. Like it's pretty much it's free to use, right? Then we start to move into more the licensing area. So we start with the exclusive commercial rights, right? The buyer of the NFT has exclusive rights to use the art as they see fit. So basically, you have, in essence, taking that right away from the creator, and now they hold that right. We have a non-exclusive commercial right. So it's similar to the previous one, right? The buyer has some right to use the art, but the creator retains the right to use it as well, right? They have
like equal ownership type.
Exactly. That's the non-exclusive commercial right, right? So it's kind of like they have a joint right of that. From there's the non-exclusive no hate speech license, right? So you can use the NFT as you see fit, as long as it's not used within some type of campaign that promotes hate speech.
Gotcha.
That would automatically, in a sense, revoke your copyright as the holder, right? So you would lose that right to use it, or not necessarily as the holder, but as the holder or the user, you would lose the right to use that. Then there's the personal use. So you can only copy and display that art if you're not using it commercially. So if you're using it just personal, you want to have it on your wall, in your house, or this makes me think about PFPs, profile pictures. Like you use it for your profile picture, that's totally fine. You're not using it to benefit from. And then personal use, and personal use, no hate speech. Again, going back to your rights can be revoked if you're using it for hate speech, which I think that's kind of cool. They're like, hey, we gonna make sure we put some in here for the fellers that like to get a little frisky, you know what I'm saying? Y'all slow your roll. So those are the licenses. I feel like they're pretty simple, and I think, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. But I think a good thing about it is, again, it's a framework. It's not them saying this is what companies need to employ. Like, no, this is just something for NFT project creators. This is a framework for you to use to give you some idea of how you should go about this copyright issue. Another thing that it brings some enlightenment around is sub licensing as well, right? With Web3, it's not just about the relationship between the creator and the buyer, right? It's now creating these new avenues of like, okay, I need to understand how this is going to affect other other relationships that come from this NFT. So the subcontract, right, in terms of right, you have this licensing agreement with, let's say, Sonic to use your NFT. If the NFT is sold to a new buyer, that contract will be terminated, right? That's the framework that they're putting around it. is that if that transfer happens, that contract should be terminated. And that's so the buyer doesn't get hemmed up with, a previous deal that's happened, right? So they're thinking about it in a protective way. And then also, you know, you can only receive these rights if that NFT is sold legally, right? Like we want to see legitimate NFTs reaping the benefits of this Web3 technology, right? And so, again, it these can't be evil licenses. It puts a framework around NFT ownership and licensing. But I mean, there's still so much to be learned about how it works in real life, right? I mean, when it comes to NFTs, there's just a lot we don't know. For instance, right, if the NFT is in a copyright deal and it's transferred to a new owner, if it's set up to where that deal is automatically terminated, what if the new owner wants to keep that deal? Like that's part of the reason why they want to own that NFT. What if it's part of the reason why the price of that NFT is that price? Mm-hmm. The price is the price. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if? So, what does it mean for those deals, and what does it mean for how that's constructed? If you're a lawyer, listening to this podcast, this is where you come in, right? If you're thinking about how you need to be interacting with Web3, this is it. You need to be thinking about how does this new technology affect the legal, what's the legal ramifications of this new world that's being created.
Yeah.
And, another thing is, how does the court handle that situation? What does the judge decide? How do they process these transactions and these situations and disputes? We really don't know at this point. So there's a lot of things that that is still up in the air. I think the takeaway from this is az16z is they've seen a hole within the industry. They see coming down the line, okay, this is going to be something that may be a problem. So let's try to be ahead of the curve, right? Similar, if you will, it's similar to what we're seeing right now with Ethereum saying, hey, we're going to go to proof of stake,
right?
And then within that same month, the White House is releasing, hey, we about to ditch proof of work. That's about to be out there. It's a similar vein of, hey, this is a big issue. This is something that can I don't want to be too much on scary time, but it could be something that can crash in the industry and get those lawmakers to say, hey, shut it down.
Right.
But on the other hand, I'll say this too. There is, again, we talked about this in last week's episode. There's so much room to experiment, man. There's so much room. I think, the framework gives a even better idea of how to experiment, right? Like, I mean, it's giving you plays right here. So definitely look into the Can't Be Evil licenses. Think about those projects that you're, if you're a buyer, the projects that you're looking at. Take some time to compare what they're saying will be offered in terms of the NFT versus what's the options that az16z has laid out, and see where that project lines up within the industry. So yeah, that's what I have to say, and continue that conversation on copyright and licensing. We're seeing some things starting to form and mold. We'll see how it shakes up.
Yeah, what's dope about that story is it's just further validation, right? That this is real and this will get further adoption into the country, right? Because a lot of people are putting off blockchain, they're putting off NFTs, they're putting off crypto, they're putting out DAOs. They're saying, man, all of that is foo-foo. It's not going to last. It has interest. If the U.S. government, large venture capital firms, major corporations are they're spending all of this money, especially government spending your taxpaying dollars, right? They're spending all of this money researching my money, bro.
Spending my money,
researching the technology, researching the impact, seeing ways in which they can incorporate it. Like Anderson Horowitz, they're over here like, yo, we're going to put out this framework not only to solve a need, but for future companies that are going to be in our portfolio. Hey, this is a framework you should probably do in order to be successful in your endeavor so we can get our bread. Because that's what the VCs care about. All of this validation that this is a space that you have to pay attention to. Also, how fast moving it is as well, right? Because last week you did a whole segment talking about like how there's reports saying like these NFT projects aren't handling copyright in the appropriate manner, and now the very next week, this news comes out of frameworks in which you all can use to restrict your projects.
We cannot expect the government to keep up with this pace. They barely can keep up with their lunch. There ain't no way in the world they're gonna be able to keep up with this innovation. It's too fast moving.
It's too fast moving, and and what you were saying about like the lawmakers too, like also we gotta be paying it very close attention, right? Because this is going to be the time in which legal battles happen, and that sets the legal precedent for how this space is handled.
Yeah.
But man, like that was great, man. That was great, and it's dope because the next segment I have really speaks to how one week things may look bleak, but the next week things pop off.
Okay.
And I want to talk about y00ts. y00ts, there it is, man.
y00ts, there it is. y00ts, dude.
But
what happened with y00ts? I heard they was dropping them bags on for y00ts, man. I need that. y00ts owner, I don't know who the creator of the project, but if you see this, you know what I'm saying, holla at a brother. Let me hold a song.
Right. And y00ts, there it is. That costs some money.
Yeah, that costs something. Y'all can't use that. We copyrighting that right now.
It'd be an NFT.
Trademark it.
Actually, I'm gonna tell you afterwards.
Don't give them all our secrets.
Not all the game. You get enough game already.
Give a little something. Give a little something.
A little something.
Listen.
So y00ts is a Solana NFT project that went off this past Monday. So Dust Labs is like the startup that created y00ts, and y00ts is just a project, is a new collection that had over 6 million in sales this past Monday, and it's still growing.
On a Monday?
On a Monday, man. Thank God it's Monday.
Man.
So, and what's dope about it is it's such a deep story, but they are right now the most lucrative, the most successful NFT collection project on the Solana network as of this moment.
y00ts. Wow.
Yeah. So just to give a little bit of history, right? Because you might have heard of Dust Labs, right? So Dust Labs is the business entity that created y00ts, and Dust Labs in this same span of time was able to receive $7 million in funding in investment funds.
Wow.
Man, and they didn't just get money from relinking them. No, we didn't give them no money. But but they were able to get funds from major players within the space. First, FTX Ventures. Now, FTX is a cryptocurrency exchange similar to Coinbase, and they, as of January of this year, launched a $2 billion Web3 venture capital fund. $2 billion, man. What's better than $1 billion?
Hove told y'all what it was. Told y'all what it was.
It's not just them though. Solana Ventures also is back in this investment.
Okay.
Then we have Metaplex, which is the Solana NFT protocol maker. We
Okay.
also have Magic Eden, which is the top NFT marketplace on the Solana network.
Yep.
Then we have Foundation Capital and Jump. They jumped in on this bag, man, like 7 million.
Man, we need to know what y00ts is doing. I need to see what that means now, man. I'm
I
trying to
know
see
you
what I'm
break
trying to
it
see what.
down.
Huh?
I'm gonna break it down because it gets
Look,
deep.
hey,
And,
I need to listen. Let the people know, man. Spit some game for the people, man.
all right, bet.
Please,
All right, bet.
please.
So before there was Dust Labs, there was this NFT collection called D Gods, right? It
Okay.
was a NFT collection that prized themselves on being original art that is not a derivative of Bored Ape Yacht Club. So
Mm.
meaning that they're their own stuff, they didn't remix Bored Apes because let's be real, because Bored Apes is the most famous, the most popular, the most successful
Yeah.
NFT collection. Many NFT collections literally just try to copy their format. Like
Right.
style, some of them use apes as well. Like it was just a whole bunch of remixing. But the gods prided themselves on being original. So
Okay.
what happened was that NFT collection had so much success that they spun off and made a business called Dust Labs.
Okay.
And Bloc Labs, they're really responsible for powering the technology behind everything, right? Like having the website in which you can like mint the y00ts NFTs, all this technology. They also made their own utility token, their own crypto called Dust. And you need to use Dust in order to mint the y00ts NFTs. You see
Smart.
what you mean, man. So
Smart.
just to break it down, man, they were able to successfully make their own NFT project at first with the gods because
Yep.
originality. They didn't try to copy and paste everything. They focused on being unique and true to themselves.
Yep.
From all that success with that community, they were able to launch the business entity, and that business entity worked on empowering all the technology, getting the ecosystem together.
Mm.
So now you have to use their cryptocurrency in order to mint this newest NFT collection, which is now the top one of the Solana blockchain.
Wow. Wow. And it's giving them the investment as well that they need to
And
grow
they got
that.
the bag. And they got the bag.
Man.
Major players, not just Joe Schmo, but major players.
Major players, and I'm hearing a couple things, right? I mean, the one is the originality, right? Like you don't
Right.
have to copy what somebody else does to be successful. Matter of fact, if you do your own thing, I ain't gonna say 9 times out of 10, but you do your own thing, with the right people around that understand what's going on in the market, you can really build something that
Absolutely.
can, um, compete, what I'm saying, if not, have a chance to overrun, or you can create your own lane, if you will. And
Mm-hmm.
then also it sounds like they understood tokenomics, right? They understood how to play the crypto Web3 NFT game, and not just saying that they're gonna, launch a coin just because they, have had success with the project, but even more so, there is a specific reason why you need to acquire this coin, baking that into their operations.
Exactly.
Um,
Building that ecosystem.
exactly. Making it intentional, just being intentional. That's what I'm hearing. Intentionality in how they set up their ecosystem in their community, and that's huge. I mean, I think what that brings to mind is that you need to know and understand the Web3 crypto, NFT world to do those things. But I mean, from what it also sounds like is they started from not knowing, and really just using the money that was made to go with the flow and create something. They started with that originality, but create something, that was different and something that can be big and bigger.
Most stuff. And for all my listeners, whether you are a creative, whether you are an entrepreneur or a mixture of the both, take this down. To be successful in this space, sure, it takes creativity, right? But it's more than that. You need to have creativity mixed with strong business fundamentals. The
Yep.
reason why a lot of these projects have been failing, why everything's been going up in flames, is because the business foundation was not there.
Right.
So in this case, I really want you guys to take note of the fact that one, even though we're in a recession, this is the perfect time to be building up your business. Because if you have something that is truly valuable, that solves a need, that is having some kind of positive impact on the world, it
Yep.
will be successful as long as you support it with good fundamentals.
Yep.
You can also get the bag during this time, right? Once again, it's not a drought, baby.
It's
They
not
got
a
7 mil.
drought.
They got 7 mil. They got 6 mil in sales plus another 7 mil in investment.
Yep.
You can get bread. You
Hey,
just have
and
to really make your project dope.
yep.
And finally, the last thing I'll say is when you're looking at your blockchain that you want to work on. So earlier we talked about one of the factors being environmental impact, right?
Yep.
Another thing is what does that ecosystem have? What does that blockchain have within their ecosystem to support you? One of
Yeah.
the investors for this project was Solana Ventures. Solana has their own venture capital firm. We have the biggest NFT marketplace on the Solana network investing as well. So
Yep.
see that's on Ethereum, Cardano, Polygon, whatever. See what opportunities they have to really support the creators on their network. Because right now it's a battle of who's going to be the number one blockchain. And
Yep.
with that, you can position yourself to really grow as long as you have the right partners.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And also, what I'll add to that, look up tokenomics. Look up what that is. That's something that they leveraged. Figure that out. Get creative and figure out how you can weave that into what you're doing, into your business and into your roadmap. Um,
Facts.
but man, that was great. That's whew, I need that bag like that, my boy.
I need that like
I
yesterday.
need it like, man, you
Dude.
like yesteryear. I need it. I need it for
Mm.
sure. For sure. Well, I think with that, man, I know I said I wasn't gonna do a quick take today, but
He
I'm
said,
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna
he was,
do it anyway.
go ahead.
I'm
I
gonna
said,
do it anyway.
I'm playing it earlier, like, man, I don't feel
Hey,
like
look,
it.
look, look, you ain't gotta do that. You ain't gotta do that. You ain't gotta do all that. You ain't gotta do all that. Look, we gonna do a quick take for y'all today, man. And I was inspired because we had a conversation earlier on Twitter Spaces.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all weren't there for the conversation today, it was a good one. I believe we're gonna do it again next week. If not next week, the week after that. We spoke with Zeus Deuce, which is one of our creative partners, and he basically brought us on to Twitter Spaces just to talk about NFTs, Web3. He is a Botswana artist. If you don't know what that is, it is an artist from Botswana, which is in Southern Africa, and we've been working with him on launching his NFT project. The first, which will be dropped on September 30th, the Coetzee NFT drop for his single. And man, fire. We got a first listen today. Man, hey, look.
That boy good.
He got some bars. Yeah.
He was rapping, which I didn't even know what he said, but it was fire.
No clue. But I knew it was something. I knew it was something cold. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know I was in that cozy. Look.
Back. Fuego, man.
So, but one of the questions that he asked about is, what does this Web3 NFT world, what does that mean for creators, right? What does that mean for the as creators, if you're looking at it, what does that mean for you? How should you be looking at it? What's so good about it, right? Like, I'm sure a lot of people is asking that question. What's so good about this NFT Web3 thing? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that, right? So there was an article that I was reading where it highlighted an artist by the name of Tycho. The guy's name is Scott Hansen. He goes by Tycho. He's a EDM artist, but he is big into Web3. He got in early. He's at a wallet since 2011. Didn't get in that early, but in 2016 bought Ethereum and was like, hey, I'm gonna just hold and I'm gonna see where this goes. He's still holding to this day, and I'm sure he is happy about that. Right? And he had an interesting quote. He said, Bitcoin is old school, but Ethereum, this thing's cool. Mamadou, you said earlier you're a believer in Ethereum. You think it's a good thing. But for him, what he's really seeing in terms of the benefit is the community aspect of it. The fact that he, as somebody who understands Web3, NFTs, he's started a community, that includes virtual FX artists, musicians, other graphic designers, right? Where he is helping them to get into this Web3 world, and creating a community and a platform for them to take advantage of this new world, right? And it's not just him. There's another music producer, Ill Mind. He has an NFT community called Squad of Knights, where he's offering in real life perks, right? So you can use recording studio for space and set up collab opportunities. Like, there are things that they're very interesting and innovative things that they're doing with Web3 in this community. But the big thing, man, that he talked about really was taking out the middleman. That's the crazy part, right? Right now, social media is the middleman when it comes to music, right? They control an artist's ability to reach their audience, right? And not only that, they hold that data, right? You can extract some of that data, of course, right? They have some visualizations for you, but that's hidden behind a wall, which a lot of times you have to pay to get behind, right? And so when it comes to Web3, we're scratching the surface. We don't necessarily know what that really looks like just yet, right? We don't know what a Web3 social media platform, like, there are some out there, but we're still scratching the surface. But taking out that middleman is going to be huge. And so there's another quote that he has. What is interesting to me about the Web3 space and leveraging Web3 to this end is, with Patreon, you're just creating a login. He goes on, he talks a little bit more about, with his open source community, he grants holders access to things like listening parties and live streams, and the artist owns that data, right? Yes. So you taking that power from social media and you've given it back to the artist yourself, right? And that's huge. And I think what Scott Hansen with Tycho is doing is a model for leaders in different artistic communities to follow. Be that leader, work to understand the technology, and then on top of that, work to bring your other artists, other people within your artist community, bring them into the fold, right? And that just, man, it elevates what artists can do. That takes it to another level. How they can interact with their audience, It's going to be huge. It's going to be different, and it's nascent, man. We're at the beginning stages, so you know things are going to look different in the future, right? And you have the decision to make, right? Do you want to be on the back end of it? Do you want other people to decide how this looks, or do you want to be a part of it? Do you want to be on the forefront? Do you want to be the artist that was able to leverage this technology early on and figure out how to use it and set the standard for the use of this technology? And you know, it's crazy. I feel like we coming full circle because what he was saying, that sounded like MySpace to me. You know what I'm saying? An artist is able to truly control his data. Man, it sounds like we're gonna be coming full circle. So I'm gonna have to get Tom on the phone and you know figure something out for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So uh, you know, be on the lookout. Tom, if you see this, hit me up. We got some ideas. MySpace Timbuktu collab coming soon. But that's all I have for the quick take today. I'm gonna pass it back to you, Mama Duda, to take us into the market.
Most definitely. I appreciate that quick take, brother.
Yes, sir.
So, in terms of the market, so as you know, we do that. We do a weekly update in terms of how the overall NFT market is performing, because the NFT market gives a great indication of how the entire space is moving as a whole. So, as we know, last week we saw like major declines by upwards of like 50 to 60% in terms of like volume and transaction value. So this week we see something a bit different, right? So total sales only went down by half a percentage point, by like 0.54% as of today. However, and real quick, it went down to like a total of 63,146 transactions as of this call, right? But in terms of sales volume, sales value, the moolah, the dollar, we saw an increase of, wait for it, 331.85%. A value of over 182 million.
Ooh, that sounds like that A-rap money. That's how they step in.
And when we think about what we discussed this week, I mean today with the y00ts, the y00ts bag dropping this week, and just everything else, that is one of the main reasons why we've seen this huge uptick in terms of the transaction volume. So once again, as we said since episode 1, this is a very fast-paced and volatile space, right? Like, just because it may be a decline in the short term doesn't mean that also in the short term it can't quickly rebound.
Right.
Now that's not to say that the recession's over. We're still definitely in one. And it's still critical that people who are interested in getting into the space, that you're making projects that are truly value driven and are grounded by great business fundamentals. But yeah, that's my take, man, for the market.
Man, for sure. Man, that's great. We listen. It's volatile. It's scary. It's exciting. It's all the things, man. So appreciate you for giving us the market update. I think that's interesting to see week by week. Like, last week we was like, it's not looking too pretty, and then a week later it's like
we made
it. For sure.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I'm feeling inspired though to give some free game to close us out, man.
What we got? Free game by the magnetic mama dude.
Magnetic baby.
Yes, sir. Get the people what they want.
Man, like when it comes to this space, stop being afraid and stop being pessimistic about the space, right? I'll say this. You'll hear, and I love all these people too. You hear great influential investors such as like the Warren Buffetts, and the Charles Munger who run Berkshire Hathaway. Kevin O'Leary was like this too. Oh, Bitcoin, like it's not valuable. I wouldn't really pay for it. But guess what? They have it in their portfolios. Kevin O'Leary himself went from being like a crypto basher, if you will, to he's a huge crypto proponent, right?
Wow.
We're seeing government, we're seeing corporations, major corporations, we're seeing all types of major players putting in money, putting in investments, seeing ways which they can adopt this technology so it can be used by the masses. This is the time to learn what you can and see how can all of this space, all this technology benefit what you have going on. Do not be a naysayer. I saw this clip a couple weeks ago. It was like what's his name? I think it was like a Larry King show. It was an old clip for like back in the day when the internet first started popping, like early 2000s, late 90s. And you have Bill Gates, and he's just explaining the concept of the internet and how like Larry King is kind of like looking at him like, okay, like that doesn't sound right. Like laughing to like, really, what's the value in that? Right. But where are we at today? Everybody uses the internet. If you are not in a location that has Wi-Fi and you can't connect to Google or whoever, you're going to lose your mind.
Right.
It is prevalent everywhere. See this. I believe this space will be the same. I could be wrong, but that doesn't mean don't take the time to learn. That's why we're bringing you this weekly show. Every week we will not miss a Thursday.
Every week. We ain't missing Thursdays.
Not missing Thursday. We want you all to learn with us, to grow with us, and to really take this and use it to your benefit. And if, let's say, the space does collapse and nothing comes of it, okay, at least you was a part of something great. So that's just the game for today, man. Definitely take the time to learn. Every week we're going to be here to like help make things more simplified. We're here for the culture, and we love you all. So that's my quick.
And you heard it here first. Don't be pessimistic, right? Don't be out here pestering around because roaches get stepped on. Don't be pessimistic.
Absolutely.
Yes,
you gotta put that up. Don't be pestering around.
No, that was great. That was great. Free game for the folk. Free game. Well, I think, I think that's it, man. I think that's this week's episode.
Most definitely. We appreciate you all. We hope you all got some value from this. And remember, the talk is different.
The talk is different.